So Mike Tyson recently has responded to the claims of the Jake Paul fight being rigged, and we also have Jake Paul retiring from boxing. We're gonna go through both of these headlines. We got a video first, article after. I'll give you my opinion on both, and we're gonna talk about this Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. But before we do, my usual spiel: if you like the content, subscribe. Um, yeah, close to 600 subs, so I appreciate you guys for all the love and support. But yeah, I won't waste your time. Let's get into it. So, I'm gonna do actually. I want to keep it like this. Yeah. So, we're only gonna watch a few minutes of this video. Listen to Mike Tyson's response. If you want to look through this entire video, I'll leave it linked in the description below.
Everyone is talking about how staged this fight was. I do believe it was scripted. What? And I believe that Tyson was certainly held back. What? Look, I'm a fighter and I can see it.
Well, I don't see too many people critical about it. Look at this. Ha 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 ha.
I think maybe even the top, maybe probably the top ones I've seen, because you got to think about it. What he basically did is he allowed Mike Tyson to be exposed to the social media frenzy that's going on now.
Mike Tyson has.
Okay, so I want to talk about what Roy Jones Jr. just said. So, we all know influencer boxing blew up years ago. Started with KSI and Logan Paul, and then Jake Paul got into it. Jake Paul being really the only one that took the boxing seriously. He built an amazing team around him, like better than any YouTuber would need, and he was able to fight. Okay, let's talk about this. Yes, he fought retired fighters. However, you cannot tell me it is not impressive, with only a few years training in boxing, to be able to go out and beat people like Anderson Silva, people like Tyron Woodley, Ben Askren. He took that fight for the money. We all know that. Ben Askren has never been a striker, but let's continue.
Reportedly responded to the controversy and lawsuit over allegations that his fight with Jake Paul was scripted, firmly denying any wrongdoing and emphasizing his lifelong commitment to boxing. The boxing legend expressed his frustration over the accusations, reportedly calling them disrespectful and an insult to both himself and his fans. He reiterated that his return to the ring was driven by his love for the sport rather than monetary or promotional motives. Tyson reportedly dismissed claims of a prearranged fight, stating that every moment and every punch in the match was authentic. He acknowledged the skepticism surrounding the bout, but maintained that he had put in significant effort to prepare for the fight, particularly given his age and the challenge of facing a much younger opponent. Addressing the viral clip in which Jake Paul was heard saying, "I got your money," Tyson clarified that the comment was related to business dealings and not indicative of any collusion. He reportedly criticized.
Alright, so right there, that's the biggest one. I know that a lot of people were running with that narrative that Jake Paul said, "I got your money," and I thought Jake Paul was gonna lose to Mike Tyson. Looking back, that was a pretty bad prediction, but the fact that Mike Tyson had that one hook that, if he landed, would have knocked out Jake Paul, and he completely whiffed on that, and it looked very intentional.
Those taking the interaction out of context to create unfounded narratives, stressing that it was unfair to discredit the hard work and unpredictability of boxing.
We, yourself, me, Mike, we came along before that social media frenzy took place, right? Now that it has happened, most of us feel like we missed it. But Netflix just blessed Mike Tyson to be able to come back by way of Jake Paul and experience and get some of the fruit of this social media frenzy. And that was a beautiful thing to me, because had it not been for that, Mike would have been just like us. We just
Okay, well, Roy Jones said right there, he does have a point. Like, this influence in boxing and with social media, fights are massive now. Like, look at the UFC. Like, when I grew up, the UFC, it was big, but still, it wasn't in New York, it wasn't in multiple states, and, you know, in recent years, they've been able to go to countries and states and provinces where they could have never gone before. And I think that's because of social media. I think that's because of the Conor McGregor boom and Ronda Rousey boom. Mike Tyson, and I want to say this, if any of you think Mike Tyson did this for the money, Mike Tyson owns like the biggest vape company in the world, and he has his marijuana company, he has his podcast, he has a lot of things going on. Did he have money issues in the past? Yes, but that's typically common with young athletes, young celebrities. Majority of them blow through their money and they go bankrupt. Mike Tyson, though, like I said, he has his own podcast. He has Ignite. He has all these different things. Tyson Vapes. Well, yeah.
just missed it and to keep going.
Tyson reportedly defended Jake Paul as a young fighter building his career, but subtly criticized the trend of celebrity boxing, emphasizing that the sport's unpredictability is what makes it compelling. Despite the mounting pressure and accusations, he remained adamant that the fight was genuine and expressed disappointment over what he saw as attempts to tarnish his legacy. Reflecting on his return to boxing, Tyson reportedly acknowledged the physical and mental challenges he overcame to get back in the ring, noting that his motivation
This guy did have an ulcer right before, I'm pretty sure. And he had a heart attack this year. He still did the fight. Still made the money. But, yeah.
was to inspire his children and fans by proving that age should not be a limitation. While he suggested that this may have been his final fight, he expressed pride in his performance, regardless of the outcome. Tyson also addressed the emotional toll of the lawsuit and backlash, reportedly describing it as a challenging and disappointing experience. However, he conveyed confidence in his ability to weather the storm, pointing to his resilience in facing.
And by the way, this is the first time I heard about the lawsuit. I had no idea about this. I'm gonna have to look into it more, and maybe I'll do a video on it tomorrow or in the upcoming days here. But I want to focus on Mike Tyson's statements and Jake Paul's retirement, which we'll get to.
Facing greater challenges in the past. In a call for perspective, Tyson reportedly urged fans and critics to focus on the larger contributions he has made to boxing throughout his career. He maintained that he has always given his all to the sport and expressed hope that his legacy would ultimately reflect his dedication and love for boxing. Meanwhile, Jake Paul's MVP has fired back at claims that the Mike Tyson fight was rigged. They added, suggesting anything other than full effort from these fighters is not only naive, but an insult to the work they put into their craft and to the sport itself. On the other hand, Oscar De La Hoya
I would argue that the fight itself was a disgrace to the sport. Like, the problem with Jake Paul was that the only legitimate boxer around his age with good skill he lost to. Yes, he did knock down Tommy Fury, but he lost the boxing fight. We can get into boxing nowadays now, it's sort of a dying sport. I know hardcores are gonna fight on that, but boxing is not what it used to be. You know, Dana White said it best. Boxing has become a going out of business, going out of sale business. You know, the only way you can make majority of these fights are with the Saudis or massive, massive donors that are willing to put up the money for these events.
Has weighed in on the controversy surrounding the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight, claiming it was scripted and accusing Paul of orchestrating a paid outcome. According to De La Hoya, the fight lacked authenticity, and the dynamics of the match seemed unnatural, raising questions about its legitimacy. He suggested that Paul's team had strategically positioned the bout as a spectacle rather than a genuine competition.
Okay, I'm gonna link this video down below. You guys can check it out. But basically, well, they go through other fighters and boxers that commented on the fight being rigged. Now, before we move on to the article about Jake Paul retiring from boxing, let's talk about what this fight meant. This was Jake Paul making a big fight. They were able to get Netflix behind it, which Netflix is moving into sports. Monday Night Raw is going over to Netflix in 2025, and Netflix is trying to become a live sports and, a place where they have live events in general. But he stumbled on his way to the ring. Like, he did not look good, and the fact that he had a knockout punch with that, I think it was a right hook. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like he intentionally missed that shot. Regardless, though, I do kind of feel bad for Mike Tyson in a way, because it was impressive that Mike Tyson came back after all those years. I know that he had that fight with Roy Jones Jr. years ago. He looked alright in that fight, but for Jake Paul, yes, he made money, but the thing with Jake Paul is, like I said, in a few years' time, he did develop legitimate skill. Well, whether you like Jake Paul, whether you hate Jake Paul, he did put in the work, and he did learn the art of boxing. But when he was challenged by somebody his age, around with the same record too, near the same. I forgot what Tommy Fury's record was in that fight. He did knock down Tommy Fury, but Tommy Fury outboxed him. Then I know he did fight those three nameless guys before the Mike Tyson fight, but I learned about those after the fact. But yeah. Now I want to move on to this article where Jake Paul gave his retirement statement. Jake Paul's retirement statement comes out just weeks after controversial Mike Tyson fight. YouTube turned boxer Jake Paul has boldly declared an East Young Gibb as the top influencer boxer in the world, attributing it to his own retirement from the sport. With an impressive professional record of 11-1, the problem child has made a splash on the boxing scene since stepping into the ring 4 years ago. The 27-year-old boasts victories over big names like Anderson Silva, Nate Diaz, Tyler Woodley, and Ben Askren in his latest bouts. He claimed a unanimous decision win against former heavyweight champion Mike Tyson. Post-fight, Paul confessed that despite their heated exchanges before the match, he had no desire to knock out Tyson. Once he realized the boxing legend was struggling due to his age, I wanted to give fans a show, but I didn't want to hurt someone that didn't need to be hurt, he reflected. Then why would you do the fight in the first place? Right? You knew he was 58. You knew that he had a heart attack recently, and he had other complications with his health. Why make the fight at that point? You could have brought Mike Tyson in as a commentator and paid him a shitload of money to make, like, you know, a celebrity appearance. I feel like that, maybe make Mike Tyson the referee, right? Fuck it, do something like that. But to go out there and to market a fight against Mike Tyson, again, I thought Mike Tyson was going to win this fight. And, you know, I feel like, and again, this is a what if scenario. If Mike Tyson didn't have the health issues that he has, again, as a result of being nearly 60, I think Jake Paul wouldn't have lasted 2 rounds with him. I mean, especially when we're talking prime Mike Tyson, he lasts 30 seconds minimum. Like, in that fight too, you saw how Jake Paul kept his chin wide open most of the time. He relies on his overhand way too much, and like he shows glimpses of, you know, some good combinations here and there, but like this guy, Logan Paul too, right? Logan Paul, if you don't know, he's in the WWE. He became the United States champion. And I know WWE is scripted, however, WWE follows the same kind of logic as UFC. The only difference is it's not scripted, unless the judge is absolutely fucking wicked. Like, you're selling a story, right? Every fight is a story. You know, John Jones fighting Stipe Miocic. That's the story of the greatest light heavyweight of all time taking on the greatest heavyweight of all time. That's what it was marketed by. This fight was Mike Tyson, the elderly man, who, in my opinion, prime Mike Tyson is the best boxer ever. Like, I don't watch much boxing currently. Like, I'll watch the big fights here and there, but when I watch boxing, I go to old fights. I go to, you know, the Mike Tyson fights, old Mayweather fights, Evander Holyfield, guys like that, right? Anyways, let's continue. There was a point where Tyson was not engaging back. I could just tell his age was showing a little bit. That violence war thing that went away as the rounds went on. People just love to hate me. I intentionally say things for people that hate. That's what I like to do. If people want to see more, give me a couple months. I tried to give the best fight I possibly could. When someone's just surviving in the ring, it's hard to make it exciting. I don't care what people have to say. It is what it is. Before he became a household name in the boxing world, Problem Child had already filmed punches against fellow influencer boxers. He stepped into the ring for an exhibition match against Deji in 2018. Oh, so that was 6 years ago. Then made his professional debut against social media personality Anissa Gibbs 4 years prior. After securing a victory by stoppage over Gibbs, Paul faced off with former NBA star Nate Robertson. We know as second round knockout. Since those early days, Paul has squared off against several prominent figures in combat sports, aiming to make his mark in the boxing ring. Paul's MVP Promotions recently announced that Problem Child has hung up his gloves in the influencer boxing realm, passing the torch to one-time adversary Gibb. Flashback to when Jake Paul was an influencer boxer. MVP Rumesha. 2 fights, 2 KOs. The best there was. And ever will be. Jake Paul is retired from the sport. That sport. They need him. He doesn't need them. Hence why they said his name 400 times this past week. Gabriel is the best. Is the current best in that sport. Gabe has just claimed victory over Slim Albahar, setting a long-standing feud and earning the title of Misfits middleweight champion in Qatar. The strike one judge calling the fight a draw, 76-76. The other 2 judges scored in favor of Gibb with margins of 78-74, 79-73. Following that bout, Gibb stated, from me to the best, I'm the best fighter in influencer boxing. I've taken out three promotions, and I'm happy to be the Misfits champion. He was a great opponent, 7-0, good boxing ability, and a great team. He made me train hard, and it was a great fight. So, I just want to say this, and then I'll end this video. You know, we'll have to see how these Jake Paul boxing fights age. I don't think they're gonna age well. You look at Logan Paul, Jake Paul, both of them. They are gifted athletes. They wrestled in high school and college, I think. They both made a transition to boxing. Like I said, Logan Paul went to the WWE, won the United States Championship, and you need to be talented to win a title in the WWE. There's just no way around it, even though it's scripted. But overall, I do kind of feel bad for Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson did go out one last time doing the sport he loves, even though he shouldn't. And stupid people will think this fight tarnished his legacy. But any real fan of Mike Tyson knows in his prime, especially with Costamaro, the guy was unbeatable. Well, let me know in the comments, what do you think about Mike Tyson's response to the Jake Paul fight being rigged? And what do you think about Jake Paul's retirement from boxing? Other than that, that's all I got.